All right, so let's show you what we have here. This is our pole barn. It's not much, but it is a huge asset for us. So this is, if we're gonna make it as farmers, this is the thing that's gonna help us get there. But the one thing that it does not have is very good electrical and very good lighting. So the only lights that we have in here are, there's one on the other side of that beam, one on the other side of that beam, one right there. And then there's this giant sodium lights, whatever it is up there, those giant 250 watt energy hog light, which is nice and bright, but consumes a heck of a lot of power. So part of setting these things up, as we've moved in here about a year ago, we're starting to get things kind of flowing here. We're starting to get the things set up the way we want them to be. One of the hugest things on my mind is energy efficiency. I want this home to be energy efficient. I want everything to run on electricity that I can, because I can produce that myself at some point, and I want everything to be super efficient. So these bulbs like this in here, the 250 watts, and the other floodlights I've had around here, got to get rid of that stuff. I can light this whole barn plus provide heaters for the watering dishes in here for less than that. So let's go ahead and get started and get this stuff wired up. All right, so let's take a quick inventory of everything that we have here. I've gotten everything kind of pieced together from scraps of stuff I had left around the house here. Remember these old, the sustainable use for old jars? I've got a bunch of these I use to organize in, and they actually mount to the bottom of a cabinet. I'll link to the video on that. There's another one that I did just like this with coffee cans. It works pretty good. So I found a bunch of these things. They were like on sale for 25 cents a piece or something like that at the hardware store over the summertime. So a bunch of these little light fixture plastic deals here. I'm not a huge fan of plastic, but in this case we've got them and we're going to use them. Got some staples. This is actually for 12-2 wire. We're using 14-2 today, but this will be fine for staples. We've got a few various types of light sockets here, some porcelain ones. Actually, these might all be porcelain. These ones actually have pull strings on them. I'm just going to leave them in the on position and probably cut the strings off because I don't really need those. And these ones are just will be controlled just by the switch. I have a few of these connectors here for the knockouts on the metal boxes that are up there, so I can run our wire right out and then along our rafters. We've got a few different sizes and scraps that I had left around, so we'll see what we can do to make that work. And then I've got some scraps of wire, so we're using 14-2 wire, so 14 gauge 2-strand. That just means it has a hot, a neutral, and they always come with a ground. So it's actually 3 wires in the package here. This is insulated wire. It's good for any 15 amp circuit, and we're going to be using this stuff. I'm not going to be putting in conduit or anything like that. It's all up in the rafters, out of the way. We should not have any trouble with anything getting damaged or cut or anything like that. So with this socket, we just have a pass-through. So we've got one wire coming from the last light we installed, and then the next wire going out to the next one in line. And then I just need to make a little jumper here to connect to the light socket at this point here. And so I just made a little jumper with a loop on it, and all we're doing here is just connecting all the colored wires together. Somebody commented on a video I was doing electrical work. They said they can't use these wire nuts in Europe. I don't know. Is that true? Can't imagine why. These things work great. Nice insulated connector. These wires, once they're twisted in here, well, they're not coming out. All right, so before we get that last light in there, let's show you what we've got here, what I'm using for bulbs. So this is a Sansi company. They're the ones that sent us those floodlights that we put in. I'll put a link to that video. Real nice floodlights, real high quality LEDs. So these are a 3,000 lumen, and this is 22 years based on 3 hours a day. I mean, if I have the barn lights running longer than 3 hours a day, I'm doing something wrong. So if these do pan out in 20-year life, that's pretty good. 5,000 Kelvin is the color temperature on these, so it's a little bit more towards the daylight spectrum. Not quite to the full 6,500 Kelvin, but definitely a nice bright daylight type bulb. I don't like all the yellow light in the barn. It just makes it look dingier than it already is. So I'm going to brighten it up a bit. But man, these things are just big old solid bulbs, real nice, well built, and I'll put a link in the description, of course, to these. They're not cheap, but they're actually, for what you're getting out of a light, they're well worth it. You're not going to find many quality LEDs of this brightness for anything less. So I'll put a link in the description to these over on Amazon as always, and I would recommend you guys check them out. I know some people are probably wondering, if you didn't see the basement renovation video I did, where I kind of plugged this little tool. This thing is so cool. It's always a pain to get the plastic insulation off this wire, and what I always do is I used to take a razor knife and just run a slit down there. Then you end up nicking up the wires on the inside and making a mess, and you got to cut it off and do it again, whatever. This thing has kind of 3 or 4 little tools in it. It's got a little hook in it, and all you do is just kind of fit it on the start of your wire, and you just feed the wire right down it, and it peels that right away. Isn't that great? It's just such a handy little tool to have. Saves me so much time, and it's cheap too. It's not expensive. It's kind of a multi-tool, but I mainly just use it to peel off the insulation on this wire. I keep this in my pocket, and then normally a regular set of these things. These have been the best little wire strippers I've ever bought. I will put a link in the description to, I don't know if it's the same exact one, but I have another set that I have on Amazon. I'll put a link to that, and I'll link to this too. This thing's not expensive. Neither of these are. But man, what handy tools. I'll have these things around forever. All right, all that's left is to get rid of this mess up here and get rid of that big old energy hog light. Alright, so up here we're going to tie into our existing light circuit that's already hooked up to the switch. So I'm just going to tie all the 4 lights into this box, and we should be good to go. Looks pretty nice. Everything's kind of run up on top of the beams up there as straight as I could get it anyway on the ladder. So I think we're all tied in and ready to rock. And we get to watch these animals do nothing but eat. All right, the moment of truth. Will they all work? We're about to find out. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for today. We've got all LEDs set up in this thing, and man, are those things, those are bright lights. I love it. I'll show some clips here at the end when it gets dark of how well it lights up the barn, but instant on, no waiting for CFLs to warm up and all that stuff in the wintertime. I can just flick the light on and finally I have light. That other sodium light, that thing took like 10 minutes before it was at its full brilliance, and with these 4 lights I'm still consuming less than just with that one light. I've got way more brightness in here, way more light in here, so can't wait to see these things in action at nighttime. I love LEDs. I think this is, I don't think I have any incandescent lights left in my house anywhere. I think I have a few CFLs left, and everything is almost completely LED, which I love. So if you guys have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you guys. Of course, I'm not an expert electrician. This isn't what I do for a living. This is just some stuff that I've picked up over the years, real basic electrical stuff. So, you know, I can answer questions if you have them. Thumbs up, guys. Don't forget to hit thumbs up on the video. It makes a huge difference for us. And subscribe if this is your first time visiting us today. I'd love to have you guys follow along and check out all the other DIY and farming and gardening and automotive repair and computer repair and anything you can do yourself here. We're going to try to do it, and we'll share it all with you guys. So I'd love to have you follow along for that. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one. There's that floodlight from that same company, that Sansi company. Does a really good job lighting up the back of the house there. Let's go check out these lights. Whoa. Oh my gosh. It's like daytime in here. Look at that. Wow. Look at that. That is amazing. I probably didn't need all 4 of them in there. Holy smokes. That is awesome. Love it.